Hi guys.
Hello, we're back and we're so excited because we just rescheduled our second live chat and here we are. So we're back. Today is November 7th. November
November
7th. I mean
20th.
November
It's like
24th at
yeah.
7. I'm Kate. I'm the CEO and founder of Her Culture.
And I'm Emmy, I'm the CFO. Sorry. Yeah, I'm the
um,
CFO of Her Culture.
Okay, so we're really excited to take your questions and to talk to you a little bit about what we've been up to. So, first thing we want to talk about is our magazine that was just released last Wednesday. It took a long time to put together, but now it's out and
Officially
we
done.
love it. We think that it's a great first issue. So some things in it, we have some articles about Thanksgiving and different cultural things. Our feature is Thanksgivica, which is the combination of Thanksgiving and Hanukkah and how those cultures are able to mix. We also have some culture profiles of some girls that work for us. One of them is Alexis, and the other one is Julia, and they were really excited to be a part of that. And we also have stuff that Emmy did, and Emmy actually talked about getting your culture into college. So you want to talk about that?
Okay, so basically what I talked about was the way that I did it. Most of my essays and supplements did revolve around my culture or other cultures that I had taken part in. And really, like, I think that really strengthened them so much because I don't feel like I had the generic essay, and I think it's very easy to not to have the out of the box essay. It's just because culture is so unique to each specific person that writing your essay through that, and I mean concentrating on culture, is something that could really push you forward, especially because a lot of people don't do it, and then everybody's culture is unique in their own way and the way that you implement it in your life. So I thought that that was a really great idea to, use for your college essays, and I hope people do take it into consideration.
Yeah, I agree. One of my essays that I had to write for one of the colleges was asking me to put in my own personal beliefs and culture into, yeah, and how I would see myself with those in that college. So I also had to reflect and think about how
Hmm.
my own culture and beliefs would fit into that. So that was a really cool article. I wrote a poem on the back. It's called Camminano, which means they walk, and it's um, a poem in Italian and then the poem in English side by side, and it's just this whole thing. And
Yeah.
what we want this magazine to become, we want it to kind of combine a literary magazine. So we want it to have creative pieces like short stories and poems, but we also want it to have the articles, the formal articles that
Hmm.
talk about specific
Absolutely.
cultures. We had a article in the magazine called or about henna and henna tattoos. So that kind of a formal article we want to.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I think for the first one, we really focused a lot on going in depth into a lot of different cultures, but a lot of that is due to the fact that we really want everybody to understand, what her culture is about and how we really want to branch off of that. But for the next ones, it will probably be more centralized on specific issues. That way, we can really focus on giving a general outlook on each specific culture.
Oh yeah. Also, what I wanted to say was this first issue was kind of a whole picture of what we
Hmm.
can do as a team. But in future issues, we want to have it of a more focused topic.
Exactly,
So
yes.
we want to have a December issue, and that issue we want to focus on the holidays and that kind of cultural thing. But and then whereas the first one was kind of just a whole
Yeah.
Maj Podge? No, that's not the
Mosh
right
Podge, it
word.
was,
Potpourri, I think, is the right
yeah,
word
that's a better
of
word.
of different things. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I definitely agree with that.
And we also, we welcome everyone to write. And the thing is, we have a blog that we have on the website, but we also have now this magazine. And the difference between them is that the blog is, more current. Um, it's
It's
happening
happening,
weekly,
yeah.
daily sometimes. And then the magazine is this bigger project that we want to share with you that, takes more time and longer
Yeah,
articles. So the blog
bi-monthly.
and the magazine are together in a way because they share the same
Yeah.
purpose, but definitely separate.
I mean, the magazine is going to be something more in your free time, while the blog is going to be, well, let's just go take a look at her culture and see
Mm-hmm.
what's going on.
Exactly. Um, what
Uh,
else? You
and
want
then do,
to take a question? Okay,
yeah,
so we
let's
have
go
a
ahead.
question, and it's how is American culture changing? Is the change generational? You want to start?
Okay, American culture. that is a really big question, because last time we did talk about pop culture and how that is so relevant to my generation's life. A lot of that is due to the fact that American culture is changing. That is also due to the fact that there are a lot of different cultures that are also coming and taking part in, what our culture today and coming into America. And I mean, personally, from my own perspective, I'm a first generation Egyptian American. So I can understand and I can see that this is going to be something that's going to be revolutionary, just implementing my own culture in America. And of course, it's going to change because people are becoming much less prejudiced towards others, and people are becoming more they're really intermingling with other cultures and other religions and really trying to understand other perspectives, which eventually will change certain people. It changes everybody's opinions and perspectives, and that's how our own culture is going to change. And then beyond that, pop culture is an emerging culture, and that is also being heavily influenced within American culture. So it's something that, I mean, at least for my generation especially, it's going to be very prominent in the future. And yeah, it is definitely generational to change, because we have different interests. I mean, most of us have different interests in people in older generations, and that's how American culture will really change, because the younger people are the ones that really implement a lot of different changes and movements, because they're, I mean, the future really.
Yeah, definitely. I've been talking to some people from Italy, some teenagers actually that are our age, and they see America as this A, place of opportunity, and B, sometimes, lacking in some things. Like they think that we're this country that is so reliant on fast food and stuff, for
Yeah.
instance. And so that is very an American stereotype that I think is unfortunate
Mhm.
because it's not truly, what we are as a
What?
nation. We have all these different heritages and cultures within us that it's not I don't think that there is one distinct definition for American because there's so many
Yes,
different
absolutely.
flavors of people. That's so weird.
Yeah, but it's
But
true.
it's true. I don't think that there is, that one thing that you could pinpoint, well, this is American, this is American.
Yes, absolutely.
We
I
have our
mean, I definitely
symbols,
agree
we
with
have
that.
our flag, we have, the
We
eagle. We
all,
definitely have that unity, but we also have a lot of
yeah,
differences. So,
we all recite the Pledge of Allegiance every day, and we all, pledge our patriotism to America, and we love America, but we all love America differently because of the different things that it offers.
definitely.
Okay.
Okay. So we have a question that we got in our email, and it's asking, how do you guys celebrate your own Thanksgivings?
Do you want to start?
I'll go
Should I
first.
start?
So I don't have a huge family, so I usually spend my Thanksgivings with my grandparents and then my immediate family. And we usually have, the typical Thanksgiving. I like to watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade.
Love the Macy's Thanksgiving Day
Oh, that's
Parade.
my favorite thing to do. So I do that in the morning. And then we usually have this big dinner at, sometime mid-afternoon. It's not usually late.
Oh, really?
And it's, yeah.
That's early. That's early.
Yeah, it's like 3 or 4 o'clock usually, because, and then we have the whole array of desserts and everything. So it's it's kind of typical, nothing too special.
Typical Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Um, I actually, thinking about Thanksgiving Day Parade, I'm actually going this year, and I'm so excited.
Oh yeah, I'm hopefully seeing the balloons get blown up.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god,
So
the night
that should be
before.
fun. Yeah.
I absolutely love. I think that's the one thing that's truly American about Thanksgiving, the Thanksgiving Day Parade, and how much we all love it, and we sit up and we get up early on Thanksgiving, just sit there and watch, on our television what's going on in the Thanksgiving Day Parade. I love the idea of it. But beyond that, I just typically, you know, just being Arab and American, we do a lot of Arab dishes along with the turkey and everything, and kofta. And then for dessert, I tried a pie last year. I totally failed at it. It was like a horrible
It's
pie.
hard.
So we
It's
threw.
tough.
Yeah, I really wanted to do it well. It just didn't work out. But I mean, in general, we also have very typical Thanksgivings, because I think Thanksgiving is something that's rooted in American culture, and we all adopt different parts of it. But then, of course, we're going to do our own little dishes from home, and for us, that's a lot of dessert, just because Egyptians love sweets. And we still sit around and we say what we're thankful for, and it's just a very like homey family style holiday, which I totally love.
I love it too. I think it's great to
Yeah.
bring the family together. I heard of people that play like football on Thanksgiving,
They play. Yeah, that's like okay.
but I've never done that.
No, I mean, I don't think it's like for certain people. I've seen like some people, like some of my friends, they do that. They go
Mhm.
out with their family and like all the boys sit and play football or something. And I guess, but I don't know. That's not something most people, at least neither of us
Yeah,
do.
I haven't. Yeah.
Yeah, it just
At
well,
least us.
because it's the game is sometime around that, right? It's on Thanksgiving. There's this
I think
huge
there's a
game.
game. Yeah.
There's this always this game on Thanksgiving.
You
Yeah.
know, and that's part of American culture too, because
Exactly. Everybody loves football.
okay. We got a couple more questions. I'll start with this one because it kind of relates to. Okay,
Mhm.
so how has social media impacted society's ability to define what is American?
Okay.
Okay,
Me?
yeah,
Okay.
take
So,
it.
how social media impacted societies? Okay, so this is really really rooted within our culture and like our lifestyle today. Like Kate said, she was talking to these Italian girls, and they think that it's all about fast food, and a lot of that is due to the fact that I mean, beyond the fact that America is one of the most obese nations, if not the most obese. Um, it's all over. Like we talk about, oh, I just want to go get like a milkshake or something. Like it's food and fast food and something like that is so rooted in our culture. And then beyond that, we talk about it so much on social media that people, of course, are going to realize it and see it that way. And then beyond that, just because the world is becoming so interconnected, and that's why we have the opportunity to do her culture, people will read about American culture and people will read about the typical American life, or they'll also see
Lifestyle.
the TV shows that we have, like Pretty Little Liars, and that's what they assume is the American lifestyle, and that's what they assume the American teenager looks like or the American family looks like. And while that may not be true, and it may not at all serve to what most of us look like, it's what culture and the media depicts of us. And it's whether it's right or wrong is completely irrelevant. It's just that that's how other people will view us. As Americans, I mean, living near New York, we personally, the tri-state area has a completely different understanding of American culture
Mhm.
than somebody living in the Midwest, for example. And that is completely due to the fact that this is more diverse area, which is definitely true. And then beyond that, we just see so many different cultures and so many different lifestyles that our culture has been changed here than certain places such as Kansas that don't experience that type of culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I am not a huge fan of social media. I think that there is this whole twisted sense of what actually is. And in terms of defining American culture, it's very harmful because you have this skewed idea of who we are as a nation if you're, living somewhere
Yeah.
else. And I've experienced that because I have talked to people from other nations and they have said that, they think of us so differently than what we actually are. They think of us as you know, uh, but then also they do know that we have a lot of opportunity here. We probably are one of the most welcoming nations in the world, and to have that reputation that people can come here and they can find that opportunity is really good. So I think the social media does kind of do a good job of saying, well, yeah, people have that opportunity when they come to America, but I don't think that they completely
Yeah.
um, completely agree with what we truly are, or what
Yeah, well,
what we
they
put
don't
out.
really understand it. And I mean, in the past, America was, the melting pot, and everybody came here. And while that has changed a little, a lot of that is sort of financial, what's going on with our economy, and then terrorism and whatnot. So a lot of people aren't allowed to come into the country as we would, as has been in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that everybody thought that this was the land of opportunity, and of course that's going to, just like Kate said, that's going to be something that's going to live with our reputation for the rest of well, at least for the next few decades, just because I mean that's what the books are written about, that's what everything's written about. You come here as an immigrant and you have the opportunities of the world to do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we're both children of immigrants, so
Kind of.
well, I mean, to an extent. So
A couple of
everybody
generations
here,
past. Well, me.
yeah.
Are your parents
I'm first generation.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I'm
but
not.
I mean, in essence, like
Yeah,
still, like down the at one point we
at
were
one point.
children of grandchildren, great grandchildren of immigrants.
Hmm. Okay, another question. Are we done, you think, with that
Yeah.
question? Okay. Is body language cultural? Oh, yes.
Yes.
I mean, I think you could tell that I use my hands a lot to speak. That is, I think, Italian. I've heard that it's an Italian trait. So you see me very animated with my hands. It helps me express, how
Yourself,
I
yeah.
talk and how I'm, getting through. So I definitely think body language is cultural. And then what I feel is that if I'm moving a certain way and somebody is really listening intently to me, they will move in a similar direction. So if I
Hmm.
went like this and then somebody was listening to me that way, they would do the same thing. They'd go like this, and that is kind of a
It
cultural thing
just,
because you're
yeah.
interacting with that person, and that body language is showing that you're listening to each other.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree with that. I mean, but the kind of animated talking with your hands, that's definitely an Italian thing. I mean, I've seen that more than once. But with the Egyptians, we also talk, we're really loud, and we also like do like this, and like we'll like call you like anything. Everything we use our hands for. And just doing anything, it's like if your parents are mad at you, it's like something is done. Like they will show you with their face or something. Like
Yeah.
it's just so rooted within our different cultures, and a lot of, I mean, we're kind of similar because we are a lot of Mediterranean culture, and that kind of spreads within the area. But for, body language is completely rooted within different cultures, and the type of people that come, the ancestors of that one specific country, a lot of that is goes down into generations, and we can see that coming out. I mean, sometimes it's different. Obviously, there's always exceptions to the rule, but we kind of do stereotype per country just because if you're like 100% blah blah blah, you kind of usually fit some type of stereotype of, well, this is the type of food you like, etc., etc., etc. And it's same thing with body language.
Yeah, and we were having this conversation the other day about the kisses when you greet somebody. If you give them, one or two
Yeah,
kisses. I don't
yeah.
know why we were talking about this, but
Because you said
um,
like Italians do that, and I was like, yeah, Egyptians do it like 2 or 3 times, and you were
so
like one
I
or
mean
two.
that kind of fits into body
Yeah,
language
absolutely,
because
yeah.
okay, so it came up in conversation, and I asked her, and I said, well, why do people kiss 2 times or 3 times? They go switch cheeks,
Mhm.
and then she gave me this whole long answer that I had no idea. So you want to
Yeah,
say it
absolutely.
again?
I mean, personally, um, it's a lot of it is due to the fact that within within the Mediterranean area, people are very like close and huggy, and they like to touch each other. And I mean, a lot of that's just because they're so close, and they're so loving in general. But beyond that, the reason that they kiss each other is because like that's how you really show friendship and love. Here, it's like, hey, like a lot of it is done through, I mean, I love you, like people just say it, while in those nations it's less said but more done. And that's why like when I kiss one of my friends on her cheeks, it's like it's so central to, well, I really do love you as a friend, and I do love you as like my grandmother. Like it's something that's like, even with like old relatives that you've never seen for so long, they're still going to come and kiss you once or twice on the cheek and just say, yes, we haven't seen each other in so long, but I still love you so much. And it is, I that's rooted within our cultures as well.
I would love to kind of bring that over here
Well,
because
here's
it
the
just means so
thing.
much more. I just think it's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, my grandmother does that. Like
Yeah,
one of my
her
friends comes
grandmother
over.
did that to me.
When one of my friends comes over, my grandmother's like, she like kisses everybody on the cheek, and she gives them a big hug, and she
Three
just
times kisses.
and that's just like, it's just because she's so sweet and so loving, and that's her way of saying, I like, you're a genuinely nice person, or I like you, or
Welcome or
something. Yeah,
something.
yeah,
Yeah.
like welcome to my home. But for others, it's just more said than done, and
Mm.
I guess it's just different. It's not bad necessarily, but I like the idea of it because it definitely brings people closer.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. So we're going to talk about some of our writers in the
Hmm.
magazine. We have a wide range of writers, stemming from 14 to actually older. And my grandmother wrote an article for us called "An Italian Thanksgiving," and she discusses, the true way of celebrating Thanksgiving in the Italian way, and um, she had all of these experiences with her cousins from Italy, and then
Hmm.
all this culture that she is bringing into Thanksgiving. So that was part of our magazine. So we definitely have a wide range of writers in our magazine. They also don't aren't just from one area. We have
Yeah.
from all over the country writers that really want to or really see a good thing in our mission and want to share their own cultures.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, beyond just Kate's grandmother's article, which was amazing and I loved it, um, we had the Hispanic quinceañera article, and that was something because honestly, I had no idea why we had a quinceañera. Like, why do people have quinceañeras? So reading about that and understanding it, especially from like not even just from cultural, traditional, and going back to religious roots, that's something completely different because why would we know that in the present day? But going back and reading about it, I found that really interesting in doing the research. And then the girl that wrote it for us, she was so enthusiastic about her culture and about the traditions that she takes part in personally just because she is Hispanic and she's so proud of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's inspiring. It really is.
It is. And I really enjoyed reading the articles because I learned so much. And, just because I'm CEO and just because she's
Yeah.
CFO, we do not know everything,
Yeah, of
obviously.
course. I
So
mean,
it was really cool to read those articles.
that's like
And,
the point behind the movement to,
mhm.
bridge these gaps and to understand people all over the world.
And we're hoping for our holiday issue, we get even more of a
Global
range
perspective,
of
yeah.
cultures contributing. Because, I mean, with Thanksgiving, unfortunately, it's just American
Yeah.
because it was an American holiday. But with the holidays, I mean,
Christmas, and
Christmas,
then there's a lot of,
Hanukkah,
yeah,
everything is just so much older and is celebrated by so many more people around the world.
yeah,
We really want to
exactly.
have
And New
a
Year's,
yeah,
like the way that
exactly.
it's celebrated,
Yeah, and
like we
then
just know
different
the ball,
calendars and everything.
yeah.
So it's really cool. So we have another question. How do they get the ideas for their articles? You
I
want to take
mean,
it?
yeah, I mean, a lot of it is due to the fact that we said we want to bridge gaps between different women all around the world and their cultures. So people are reflecting upon their own cultures and reflecting upon their own traditions and saying, well, this is something that people don't usually understand. So I want to make it vocal and I want to let people understand, what this is about and what my culture is about and let others see, okay, like this is something that can be really vocal and something that people can truly understand and contribute to despite not being, for example, Hispanic or Italian or Greek or something,
Mm-hmm.
or European. So that's where a lot of the article ideas come from. Otherwise, it's just personal stories and personal accounts, and we love hearing that because, I mean, a little story has so much to say about your traditions and your lifestyle and your family's lifestyle that how would I personally know otherwise if I didn't know you or if I didn't live with you? So it's great to hear those and to hear about lost past or lost histories on the blog or hearing about on the magazine just everybody's the henna story and then hearing about the quinceañera like I said. So those are just things that we really enjoy reading, and the people that wrote them just looked back on what their lifestyle is about and
Mm-hmm.
try to spread it.
Exactly. And, when we're looking for articles, we tend to put it out on our Facebook page
Hmm.
or Twitter, and we say, well, we want an article about Christmas
Yeah, for example.
in Ireland, let's just say. So we may put that out on our Facebook page in the next couple of weeks or so, asking for somebody to write that for us, and then we'll get that article. And for this next issue, for example, we want to have that whole range of articles that deal with Christmas and
Hmm.
Hanukkah. So if you want to write something for us, if you feel like your culture is
Defines the
defines
holiday.
the holiday, for instance, the Italian seven fishes. I keep going back to
Yeah,
Italian,
no,
but
I mean that's your
for
culture.
Christmas Eve, you have seven fishes for dinner. And if you wanted to write about the history of that, then that would
Hmm.
be great. If you wanted to make a story based on that, that would be great. So we're kind of looking for that
Yeah.
different things. And honestly, we're open to a lot of things. If we feel like it won't fit in our magazine, then we'll put it on the blog. If we feel like it'll fit in our magazine better than our blog, then we'll switch
Put
it
it in the
up.
magazine.
So
Yeah.
we really want this to be an inviting environment for you to feel like you can share whatever you want, and we'll be open to that. And then we do edit it so that it's just cleaned up a bit, but
Yeah, of
otherwise
course.
it is you and your voice, and that's what we want to share.
I
So.
mean, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
It always comes across the same message. It's just like a professional magazine that's
Mm-hmm.
done otherwise, but we really want to bring in everybody else's voices.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. What is a quinceañera? Okay.
Okay.
You did the research on
Yeah, I mean,
this.
I'm the one. I was really interested, so I went on and I wrote the history background on it. So traditionally, a quinceañera is like this coming of age party. It wasn't, it was really just more of a festivity, not really a party back then. It was very small and very intricate. It started in the Aztec civilization, and it spread all around, to Hispanic civilizations. I mean, Hispanic present day modern civilizations all around, Latin America, and even came to America as well. And a lot of all of it stems from the fact that before your 15th birthday, you're a girl, and upon reaching your 15th birthday, you officially become a woman. But the reason that people do have the quinceañera is to celebrate the parents raising their children so well, because the girls are supposed to be virgins upon entering this process, because afterwards then you're allowed to get married, and premarital sex is frowned upon. So the parents raising you so well, and you're a virgin upon walking into this whole scenario and this whole festivity for you. That's something that your parents are supposed to be proud of. And a lot, in a lot of cultures, including Hispanic culture, after the girl gets married, the parents take like a smaller role in her life. So that was really to celebrate the parents before the girl got married shortly afterwards or sometime after that. Today it's different, but not really. I mean, it still takes on the same roots. The girls here are really changed from from a young girl to an adult, and they changed flats to heels to symbolize that. But then also to celebrate the parents. Back then and today, they did this special dance with the father called a waltz, and they would practice for months beforehand, before they really got into for weeks to months before they did this whole dance in front of the community. And today it's taken a lot from our Sweet 16, American Sweet 16, but it's still very central to the ideology behind it. And it's also a sacrifice to the god Guadalupe, the Virgin God Guadalupe, in Hispanic culture and Hispanic religion. So at the end of the party, a sacrifice or something is supposed to be offered to the god, just to like thank her for guiding the girl to that point at which she becomes eligible for marriage.
I've been to one quinceañera in my life, and what I noticed is that it's a lot like an American Sweet 16, especially because we're now in America, and that's another thing with
Yeah.
the whole blending cultures. But what I noticed with that was that it was very focused on dancing. I don't know if you mentioned the whole
Yeah,
waltz
yeah,
thing you did.
the
Okay,
waltz, yeah.
so the girl comes in with this whole court, and it's called a court of and there's what 6 or 7 girls and then 6 or 7 boys
Yeah,
with her,
it's like 15,
and
yeah.
they all do this whole big dance, and then they do this waltz, just the mother and the father, and it's this whole like bringing together what it means to then become an adult, because now you're changing
Mhm.
yourself from a young woman to an adult, and that was really cool to learn about. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I think the party today is great, and back then it also served similar purpose, and I really loved learning about it.
I like that people still do it and that they haven't
Yeah.
lost that tradition, because I think it's important to keep that stuff going.
I think certain things like that will always be relevant, especially because a lot of people within Hispanic cultures are so deeply rooted in their religion.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, one of my closest friends, she's Hispanic, and she's so religious and she's so diligent, and she's that type of person that's like, I really need to focus on, what's going on in my life, and I pray to God all the time. I mean, personally, I think it's great, and I love that she's so religious, and I definitely appreciate it as a person. And she did have her quinceañera and everything, and just seeing that they will continue to do that despite any cultural or social norms that are taking place today. They have mixed it with American culture and they've made it relevant, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Why do women cover their heads in some cultures? Well, based on what I've seen with you, I know that it's a sense of modesty.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And um, in my culture, we don't cover our heads, but I mean I think it's a very personal choice to cover your head, and sometimes you don't get that personal choice.
Yeah, I mean it's not really a person. I mean, in a lot of cultures, it's not, because
Yeah.
here it's more socially acceptable to not cover your hair. But if you go to somewhere in the Middle East, it's like you're showing your hair. That's weird. Like, put something on. So I mean, honestly, it's a lot of it is just social norms, and then beyond that, it's very rooted in religions, because God said you have to cover your hair. So that's why a lot of people continue to do it even presently. And then beyond that, it's definitely a sense of modesty, like Kate said. It's just, people that cover their hair typically are supposed to dress conservatively, even without it. And their hair is meant to be a statement of beauty, and that's why it's covered, to take away display from their beauty. I mean, to to hide their beauty for people that really matter, which is their family and their husband and their children. So yeah, it's just definitely a symbol of modesty.
I didn't know. I tried. Okay.
No, absolutely.
Someone else just asked, what advice do you have for someone who wants to start their own magazine? Ooh, good question. Well, first thing you want is writers. Because if you don't have writers, then you don't have a magazine.
Yeah.
And trust me, you do not want to be writing everything in it. We ended up having to write a lot of stuff in our first one because
Yeah,
the content
absolutely.
was just, it wasn't that much. So we just wanted to have a substantial magazine for our first one. But
Yeah, absolutely.
so writers is definitely one. Number two, you want to have a design plan. Do you want it to be more formal, or do you want it to be more friendly?
Yeah.
Do you want it to, have pink everywhere like ours did?
Yeah.
Do you want it to have black and white pictures? So you want to have that design plan going. You also want to have editors.
Yeah.
For this magazine, me and Emmy kind of took on the roles of editors because it was just
Yeah.
easier for us to get it out in the time frame that we had. So we kind of assumed that role. But if you can have extra editors, that would be great, because then you kind of divvy up that work, and it's not then as the main editors of the magazine, you could have more time to do other things with
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
And you don't just have to focus on the nitty gritty parts of the articles. So we're looking into actually having more editors in the future, but we're gonna kind of stick with us just for
Yeah.
now, just
Well,
until we get a more
yeah.
substantial magazine in terms of content wise and how much we can get to. I'd say another thing you want to focus on is, what is your mission for the magazine? For instance, our mission for our magazine is to have it be a bigger project than our blog, and also a more
Centralized.
centralized
I mean,
thing.
yeah.
So for the blog, you can write about anything. For the magazine, well, we want to have a common theme throughout it most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So you also want to focus on, what is your focus for the magazine or that particular issue. Let's see. Financially,
It's not.
okay, so the website that we use is called jumag.com, and it's great. If you've ever used InDesign for any sort of designing, it's similar to that, except it's online. So I didn't have to have the InDesign program. I could just do it all online. The problem with that is that there are different plans that you can have to get more features and stuff, and you could also, make it mobile friendly. Right now, we're not mobile friendly because we don't have the financials for that, but we're definitely looking to get to
Open
that
up
in the
to that.
future. So you want to definitely look into the financials of it. So what did we say?
We said
Focus,
design,
writers, design,
editors.
editors, and financials.
Yes,
I think
absolutely.
that kind of sums up everything that we had to do.
I mean, the first one's always going to be difficult, like Kate said.
Yeah, the first one, we are still in the learning process, and we're really hoping that our second one is even better than our first one. But I still love our first one.
Yeah, I mean, of course, you put so much work into something, and I mean, for most things that we've done in our life, it's always ended up for a grade. This is just for personal satisfaction, and that's completely different.
Mm-hmm.
It's a completely different feeling.
I actually really like doing it without having that pressure of a grade on it, because I can say, well, I love it this way.
Yeah,
and I don't have to fit into somebody else's mold.
Now you're setting your own standards.
Yeah,
and that's
exactly.
Being independent. And
so that's what I really liked about making our own magazine. What else did we do with it? Oh, copyright issues. Don't use pictures from Google or anywhere else unless you cite them.
Yeah,
and even then, it's a little bit risky. I would make sure that you have photographers and people to go out there and do it. Ooh. Hold on 1 second. Okay, sorry. The computer shut up. Also, what I noticed was that if you put it out there, people really want to get involved. I put it out on our team group page, like, oh, who wants to be profiled in this issue? And I had 4 girls that were like, oh, me. So I said, okay, so we'll do 2 this issue and then 2 the next issue. So we already have our December profile girls lined up. And so people really want to get involved if you put it out there, because this is, you can make something new and exciting that people want to read. So
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Next question. Do non-Arabic women have to cover their hair when visiting Arabic countries? You would know this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It depends on the nation. Saudi Arabia, you have to. No way. You're not going to Saudi Arabia without covering your hair. A lot of
so like I would have to cover my head?
Everybody.
Okay.
I'm actually fairly certain you'd have to cover your face as well. And at least in certain areas of it. That's just because, it's the law and it's the culture, and they don't believe in going, I mean, just like I said, they believe in being so modest.
Mm-hmm.
So going to these nations, it's really something that, I mean, it's frowned upon not to. I mean, you're probably not going to be thrown in jail or something if you don't, but you're definitely not going to have an enjoyable visit if you don't. Mm-hmm. Egypt, you won't have a problem, especially because it's such a tourist nation. But there are a lot of nations in the area that, I mean, if you're dressed inappropriately, it's typically frowned upon, and maybe just throwing a scarf on your head is something that people will be more accepting of, just because they are so modest and they don't like the idea of, dressing in a more liberal way around their families and their the people, because mm-hmm. they don't want to spread that. That's why they have a lot of problems with Western culture. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's just something that's changing, and everybody just needs to learn how to understand each other and try and relate.
My Italian teacher from middle school, she told us a story that she went to the Vatican in Italy, and she didn't have her shoulders covered, and she couldn't get into church.
Oh, wow.
And so she had to go home, back to her hotel, find some sweater, because it's hot there. She went during the summer, so she didn't want to wear a sweater because it was so hot. But in certain places they want you to cover up because it's just disrespectful mm-hmm. to whatever. So even though it's not covering your head, it's still that sense of like you need to adhere to that country's
exactly
standards or whatever. So it changes. Okay, another one. How do you see the magazine/website growing in the next year? Right now, we're very Americanized. We have a lot of people writing for us that are from America, but we want to see it grow to other countries. Sure, I can talk about my Italian culture all I want, but I'm not actually in Italy, and I'm not actually from Italy, so it's not the same as being in that country.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we definitely want it to grow more internationally and have a more international presence. We want writers from all over the world. She has friends in Mexico that are actually going to write for us
Yeah.
eventually. So we want to have that, and we have Google Analytics, and we've been looking at where we've been reaching, and so far people have seen us in South Africa, in Italy, in Ireland, in England. So we're being seen, but we want to have more writers and more voices from those countries.
And a lot of it is probably due to the fact that people aren't exactly fluent in English.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we would love to open it up to people that, I mean, to write in their own languages and eventually try and make it something where everybody from different cultures that even aren't fluent in English or can't even read English can still go onto the website and, take a look at what's going on despite, not knowing English.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely agree with Kate. It's something that's just going to take time and work and efforts, but I mean, it is reaching so many people in America just because this is our domain and this is where we are, and we want to make it grow farther.
I don't know if this is okay to say, but we're going to college in a year, so we're going to have
Yeah.
lots of classes that expose us to new ways to do things. And she wants to go into well, not now, right? You were going to go into
What?
international business.
Um,
Or
I'm definitely going into international affairs, international business.
mm-hmm.
It's just going to be very dependent on the school, possibly politics. But the one study thing will be definitely be international affairs.
Yeah,
So
and I want to go into communication. So kind of that combination of what we're learning is going to help us with our website, because
yeah,
right now
absolutely.
we're a little bit limited in what we know. But I want to definitely make the website that as soon as you go on it, you can click what country you're from and it'll translate into
Yes,
that. I really want that to happen. So hopefully that'll be up as soon
and
as
running
possible.
soon.
But I mean, it's difficult. The website that we're using to create our website is sometimes limited in what we're able to do. So we're trying to figure out ways to get around that.
It just takes time and it just takes education.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just because we are at the points in our life that we are in, it's just going to take us putting the additional time, which we are putting in, we want to put in, and eventually it'll grow. And that's the whole point of an organization. That's the whole point of, moving forward.
Mm-hmm. And we're still learning, and we want it to be user friendly, and we want everyone to kind of contribute. So we're definitely going to figure out ways to do that, and
Absolutely.
so hopefully in the next year it'll be better format and just less of the glitchy things, especially like Friday when we tried to get this going and it didn't. It's just a learning process. So yeah. Okay. What other online magazines do you read? Um, our magazine, when I started it, I was inspired by the Smart Girls Group's magazine. I think they publish monthly, and their magazine was really cool. They do a lot of, I think they're at 100 pages
Oh,
for their
really? Yeah, yeah. It
magazine.
was
So
like
we want to get there,
85.
but we couldn't do that right away. So they have different sections with, fashion tips and um, different articles. So we obviously have a different mission, and we're obviously doing something else. But I was really inspired by their magazine, so I read theirs, kind of.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't really read online magazines that often. A lot of that is due to the fact that I mean, my magazines are typical fashion magazines like Vogue and Bazaar. But, I mean, not to sound nerdy, but I read The Economist online and I read Financial Times and The Futurist. I get them both in paper and online, so those are the ones that I read.
I read some like Catholic teenage magazines.
Yeah.
Sometimes typical People magazine
Oh my
stuff,
God.
but I try not to because I know it's skewed and it's just
Yeah, but
whatever. But
indulge
it's just
yourself.
sometimes you just got to do what you want.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. I mean,
but
I
it's
think
cool.
magazines are a great way. I mean, obviously everything that's going to be posted isn't going to be real or something, but I mean, it's the way that we share, like I said, just with us, the way that we share our cultures, and then the way that we share opinions, and it's just through literature and writing.
In terms of the community they create, we definitely want to have that.
Yeah.
And something cool about our magazine is you can actually order prints of it right now. You
Yeah.
can order it and it'll come in the mail, and you could get glossy or medium or small. I don't even know. So you could get these cool things that I just think it's cool to have that. So and then
To
I
treasure it.
like personally flipping pages. I don't
Yeah, I'm
really
definitely
like
that person too.
reading stuff on a phone or I didn't even try a
Yeah.
phone or an iPad unless I have to. So I like to have something to flip through. In our magazine, I like that I can do that. So
That we can get it printed
hmm
because I mean it's something different.
it's like tangible. You can
Yeah,
hold
exactly. It's like
it.
I mean personally I hate reading books online or something. Like if I'm reading an article, I'm printing out the article and reading it. So
Yeah.
it's definitely something that we personally just enjoy just because I guess are kind of an older generation than what's coming out now. So we do like reading just paper. But yeah, we do enjoy the fact that we can order it ourselves.
Okay. We got asked about a Her Campus magazine. I think Her Campus is mostly online. I don't think that they have a magazine. They just share their stuff on Facebook and stuff. But what I like about them is that they focus solely on their online presence and they are able to communicate that way. I mean, we kind of are splitting it up between our
Hmm.
online stuff and our printed stuff, kind of printed.
Yeah.
Um, so, but I think just Her Campus is different because it has that online. It's not a blog necessarily. They are
It's
articles, but
not.
it's not in a
Yeah.
collective kind
I've
of
seen it.
issue.
It's more like one of those like BuzzFeed or something. Like
Exactly.
yeah, like everybody's just writing their opinions on everything.
hmm
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah, I
I mean, I
mean
like it. It's
I
just
like it too, yeah.
different from us.
Yeah.
Okay. So we don't have any more questions right this second. So if you want to ask us some more questions, we're ready for you. You want to talk about the book? Okay, this is what I wanted to talk about actually. We have a book of the month every month. I don't know if you realize this, but we do. And last month was The Kitchen God's Wife by Amy Tan. And what we want this program to become is that, well, we want it to be able to be something like we can send you questions every week about the book, and then hopefully that'll start some discussion that we can post on our blog.
Mhm.
Because if you want to write a piece about a certain character and how the girl's culture in that book is relevant, then that's what we want to see on our blog too. So we pick books that have females as most of the main characters and also has something to do with culture. So last month was The Kitchen God's Wife, and it was all about Chinese culture and
Yeah.
the generational gaps that sometimes Chinese culture can create. And then this month is Secret Daughter.
Yes.
So Emmy has a little summary of that.
Okay. So The Secret Daughter is about this girl that was this baby that and she's a baby girl. She was born into this society that doesn't really accept girls and they're more fond of guys. So the parents actually gave her away and an American family is meant to adopt her and because they can't have kids themselves and upon seeing the girl it was something like so different for them that they loved her so much while on the other side it's not that the mother didn't want her the mother was kind of resentful of the fact that she had to give her away but I mean it wasn't they really didn't want girls simply because of course they can't it's just something that wasn't rooted within their own cultures and that really ties the two stories together. This one girl ties two stories together between America and, the rural community that they come from. And just seeing the two differences, how having a girl can be so, frowned upon in certain nations, even though you have no control over it. I mean, it's something that's so interesting to read and it's inspiring to understand just because, I mean, we're two girls. Would we have been given away in that type of society?
Yeah.
I mean, possibly. But, maybe that's something that needs to be changed in the world, or maybe it's just something that we need to understand better. So, I mean, the book really gives you insight into that, and we'd love to hear your opinions on it, just like Kate said. We'd love to start something with it and really get a movement going with it because the books are really inspiring to read.
Mhm.
Yeah, I definitely think that that's something that I mean, is great. And then beyond that, we also wanted to start doing seminars or something of that sort, to really, start bringing together a community. And we wanted to know what you would want to hear about, or what type of programs that you'd like us to host.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd love to do something where it can really be interactive within the community, and people can really be talking and debating and talking about everything that they just really want to talk about concerning their cultures, and bringing together the community even further than than even through writing, but even through speech as well.
Yeah, I really like that. And with the seminars, we were thinking of maybe making them like a half hour long.
Mhm.
And what we would talk about, maybe one seminar would be about women in Europe,
Yes.
or the next seminar would be about henna and expand on that. And so kind of this learning experience that we're learning before we do it, and then we share that with you, and then you get to learn too, and
Yeah.
you get to have that view instead of just reading the
Reading.
blog or just reading the magazine. So having that interactive seminar we were thinking of doing, but that's to come in the future. And again, I'm going to say this and emphasize it: we are a community for you, by you,
Mhm.
by you, for you. So you are the voice in this magazine and this website just as much as we are. And so if you want to see something with the website, we encourage you to offer that. If you want to see a
Yeah.
certain seminar, or if you want to come up with a program that you
If
think
you
would
have an
be
idea.
really good
Yeah.
to for us, then we will definitely look into that
Yeah.
and give
See
you
what we can
credit
do.
for it, of
Yeah.
course, and say, we got this idea from so and so. So our email, which is herculture@gmail.com, is always open for suggestions and ideas, and we really want this to be a community that everyone can feel like they're a part of.
Yes, absolutely. And I really hope everybody, if you have something, let us know. We want to hear. This is just like she said. This community is open to everybody.
Mm-hmm. And I just wrote an article about this for my newspaper. It was our last issue, about how a lot of people are starting, not to care about what's going on around them. And I feel like it's our job as this new generation of women, or even older generations of women, to kind of bring that back and to say, like, there's something going on hundreds of miles away that I want to bring to
Mm-hmm.
everybody's attention because it's important to me. And to share that awareness, I just think it's a really
Yeah.
good thing. So we want to kind of do that.
Thanks, man. Okay, we have one more
Okay,
question.
a question: how will you maintain your cultures when you have your own families? Okay, I think we got a similar question last time, but it was
Yeah.
more like what traditions you would
Traditions
post.
do
So this
you?
is kind of different. Uh, well, I'm super Catholic in my family, so I think when I have my own, or I know when I have my own family, I'm going to um, give my children that, because I feel like that is something that defines me so strongly, is my religion, and I follow God every day, and I feel like He influences me in all of my decisions. So I want to give my children that opportunity too, to have that. So when I have my own family, I want to incorporate that. And also with the Italian, traditions and stuff. I mean, I'm not just Italian. I'm a lot of different European um, cultures, but mainly Italian. We're very foodies,
Yeah.
and we're very family oriented, and I want to bring that down with me too. So that's to come, hopefully,
In the future.
in the future.
Um, I mean, personally, I'm, at least at this point in my life, I'm not somebody that really sees myself branching out and having a family. A lot of that is just, it's just a very personal option, but I mean, it's definitely subject to change, and that just is going to happen with time, and a lot of it is probably due to the fact that I'm so young that I don't understand everything yet. But I mean, personally, I'm somebody that loves traditions, and I like to think that I'm not fully Americanized, nor am I fully Egyptian, but I definitely walk somewhere in the middle of that. And I want to hold on to that for the rest of my life, and I want to move forward with it and, spread it to other people that want to hear as well. And I think that's a lot of what the website has to do, you know, to spread our own cultures and spread others,
Mhm.
and then to hold on to what we have, because honestly, I love my ancestry and my heritage, and I'd be upset to give that away.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. Okay, so one question is, how about Arabic dessert recipes? Will they be in the next issue? If you want them.
Yeah, I can put them in there. I have a bunch.
Do you have a
Okay,
do you,
well,
you don't even do you celebrate Christmas?
I celebrate Christmas spiritually. I love Christmas.
We already have the Christmas songs going in my car. We were blasting that. So
Yeah. I mean, I around Christmas time, I'm like,
what about New
I'm,
Year's?
Of course, I celebrate New Year's.
Okay, but like, is there a dish, Arabic dish for New Year's?
For New Year's, Arabs actually don't celebrate New Year's on the day. Well, like back home they do, but like religiously they don't really. They follow the lunar calendar, so it's different. But I mean, my family, we love this thing called kanafi, and it is so good. It is like shredded wheat with like ricotta cheese in the middle and some raisins and everything, and syrup on the top, but not like chocolate syrup. It's some odd syrup. It's very diluted. It is so good. That's like the one thing that we eat at every family gathering. My mom is like, okay, so let's just make this, and it's just something very rooted in our culture, and I'd love to put that out for everybody if they want to make it. It's so easy
We
too.
might as well just have a whole food section.
Yes, that would be a good idea.
Because I know I'm gonna get some recipes from my grandmother for Italy, so we'll
Well,
just have a food section.
Listen, I want to make a cannoli really bad. I want to like know how to do this.
It's hard.
I make zeppelis. Okay, zeppelis. That's Italian.
I'm pretty sure it's Americanized.
It's Americanized
because it's so
but
deep
it's
fried and
originally-
everything.
Yeah, but it's originally Italian. The best thing is, it's also Egyptian.
Is it really?
Yes. I like
Look,
grew
you
up
learn
on these
something
things.
new
Yes.
every day.
I grew
idea.
up like eating this.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like because we're Italy, I mean Sicily at least, and Greece. We're all kind of in the same region. We share a lot of
Plus a
foods.
lot of immigrants. There's a lot of immigration into Sicily from like all over.
Yeah, from all over the
So-
area. So and then with the silk trade back then,
Mhm.
everything was so mixed that I mean our cultures are so similar today.
That's cool. Yeah. Okay. So we need to have a food section. Okay. So it looks like we're almost done with our chat. We have about 4 minutes left. We have a question, but we don't feel comfortable answering that. If that's
not
okay. But we appreciate you asking, and hopefully soon we'll be able to give you an answer.
Once we figure out what schools we're going to, we'd love to tell.
So we're just gonna let that go.
Yeah.
So just to wrap it up, I guess, because I think we're out of questions and out of stuff to talk about. We're gonna have again a live chat pretty much every month. Next month might be a little bit tricky because that's the holiday season.
Yeah.
But definitely, maybe we'll have it earlier.
Maybe
like
we can do
halfway
something. Maybe we can like bake and show you guys our little recipes.
We could show you.
Yeah,
we could have.
but we'll probably do it before the holidays.
So yeah, I think we're gonna have one before the holidays. And again, we're also open to your suggestions. Our email is herculture@gmail.com, and if you wanna write something, just send us an email. We also have a Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest, and they're all at herculture. So if you want to contact us through those two, we're always open to, your suggestions. If you want us to talk about something in our next live chat, we also encourage you to ask us questions beforehand instead of the day of, so that we can have some time to prepare. But we also like you can talk to us while we're talking to you. Something never mind.
No,
never mind. No, I was gonna say that we were talking about opening up like other cameras so that we could see other people, but we decided maybe not at this point.
We might do something like that in the future, but it'll definitely be more one-on-one or more intimate.
So as of right now, you'll just be able to ask us questions in the chat,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll answer them
in
real time.
We enjoy this.
So this is cool. So again, our website is www.herculture.org, and you can check it out. You can give us suggestions, write comments, write for our blog, or write for our magazine. We'll keep you updated on what's going on with us,
Yeah.
and we hope to hear your
from
story.
you.
So,
Bye,
bye. Nice to talk to you
guys.
guys, and we'll see you next month.